Hello and welcome back. Well, welcome back, I say. I've noticed, of course, that my recording of Aquarium didn't actually record the grid. So what I'm planning to do is to essentially quickly solve it. I say quickly, it took me 27 minutes the first time round. So showing off all of this logic might actually still take me a while when I'm recording this. Now, word of warning, when I put on the next screen, it will be the full solution. So if you haven't actually seen the original video or anything like that, don't do anything just yet. And there's a couple of links down below because there's two different versions. There's the hard version, which is the one I'm going to solve now, and there's one with additional clues which you can choose to feature and play instead. Anyway, you've been forewarned. Here's a solution right now. Right, so that's what the full grid looks like. You may have heard me talk about the fact that I colored the 8s and 9s at the end. But none of that matters. We're going to restart the clock now and see the solution. So, right, easiest place to start is these 22 cages. 22, if you do not use a 9, have to have, 6, 7, and 8 will only get you to 21. So there has to be a 9 in here. There are two options, 5, 8, 9, and 6, 7, 9, essentially 13 plus the 9. Now, when you look at the German whisper lines, you'll notice that there are at least two low digits and at least two high digits. If I use 6, 7, and 9, I'm only going to be left with one high digit, the 8, so it doesn't work. So both 22 cages have to be 5, 8, and 9. And I'm left with a 6 and 7 to be placed on the German whisper line. Obviously, because we have a 7 and a 6, the pairs that go with them are actually going to be 1 and 2. Now, the 6 can't be in the middle because it would require a double 1. So the 6 would have to be on the edge, covered by a 1, followed by a 7, followed by a 2. Now obviously the 6 could be on either side, so you end up with this scenario where the 6 goes with a 1, goes with a 7, goes with a 2. So you end up with a 2-6 pair, a 1-7 pair, and that's true for both corners. Then you're left with a 3-4 pair in here. Now this is where it's helpful to point out that we're talking about a 9-cell killer cage that includes 3 and 4, and they obviously have to be different because it's part of the rules. Digits in a cage may not repeat. So these are different 3s and 4s. Let's keep going. Let's talk about box 1 now. Box 1 has 3 options that can go inside the 9. It could be 1, 2, 6. It could be 1, 3, 5. For a second there, I just forgot. And only one of these actually works, which is the 1, 3, 5. But to understand that, we have to take a look at what's going on here. So this cell is even. It's 2, 4, 6, or 8. Can't be 4 or 6. 4 would require a double 9. 6 would require a double 1. So we can remove these. So we're left with 2 and 8. Now, if I have an 8 in here, I can't even remember what it was in the actual solution. If it's 2, it obviously removes 1, 2, 6, 2, 3, 4, and leaves us with 1, 3, 5. If it's an 8, it needs 2 low digits. Now, 2, 3, 4 doesn't work, so that's always not going to work. 1, 2, 6 is also problematic because it only leaves us with a 3, 4 pair next to the 8, which doesn't work. So in both scenarios, 1, 2, 6 and 2, 3, 4 doesn't work. So this is definitely 1, 3, 5. It actually doesn't give us the 2 or 8. I don't seem to remember that. Oh, it does give us the 8, of course, because 1 and 3 would leave us with a 2, 4 pair, which doesn't work. So that's the 2. This is now a 7, 8, 9. The 2 gives us 6s in here, 1s in there, 7s, and of course 2s. Gives us a 7, 8, 9 pairs in here. I say pairs, I mean, we don't actually know if they're not the same. 7s, remove 7s from here, so we end up with 8, 9. Take a look at the 6s now. We're left with a 6 and a 4, 7 pair. Right, so far, so good. I'm not sure I'm going to remember too much more at this point of my solution path. Yes, I do actually. Right, back to this killer cage. This killer cage needs to have, if you look at this German whisper line, there are 2 lows and 3 highs. And I know that this is the order, of course, because I've only got a 3, 4 pair. I only have 1 and 2 that's left. Then these are from 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not a 6. That can't be a 6 because it's definitely surrounded by a 2. And over here, there has to be a 6 because there is no other place left for a 6 in this killer cage, and there has to be a 6. As in, it's none of these cells, so it's got to be one of these two. Have a look at column 3. Where is a 5? It would have to be in one of these two cells. If I pick this cell, I have broken the puzzle, because essentially this 9-cell cage has no place for a 5. It has to be in one of these two cells, and this cell sees both. So that's another 5. That's not I say another 5, that's a 5. And this is, again, 6, 7, 8, or 9. In fact, it is not 7. None of these are 7. 7 is in one of these two cells. Excellent. What else do we know? Does that 5 help me again? I can't remember. 6s, 7s. I may just move on and actually think about this next. So this is odd. If it's a high digit, well, I mean, it can't be 7, it would have to be 9. Possible. If it's a low digit, in fact, it is a low digit because Sudoku says no ones, no ones. This is a 1. Then these two cells are high digits, neither of which is a 7, by the way. So this is from 6, 8, and 9. The 1 in here, of course, tells us that the 9th cage now is 2, 3, 4. Excellent. And then we're left with, I think, the 7s, yeah. Kind of create the same crisscross pattern that the 6 did earlier. So that's the 7. And then I'm left with no 6s, so the 6 has to be on here. In fact, that is not a 6. Not a 6, not a 6, is a 6. So I'm left with 8, 9, and a 5. So 5, 8, 9. I end up with 5, 8, 9 triples, 5, 8, 9 triples. I should be able to, actually 6, 8, 9 triple, that's much better. So that's 5, that's not 5. These are not 5s, this is 5. These are not 5s, this is 5. Not 5s, is 5. Lovely. Now, from memory, this is when I decided that it may be a good idea. Actually, before I actually get on to coloring the 8s and 9s. Right, so column 9 has 2, 3, 4s and a 7. So there's another 2, 3, 4 and a 7. But remember, we already stated to get a 7 inside this killer cage, it's one of these two cells. That's not a 7, that's a 7. That's another 2, 3, 4. That is a 3, 4, because we've already got 6, 8, 9 triple. So we have another 2, 3, 4 in here with an 8, 9 and a 5. Oh, actually, we can place the 5, I think, because 5s are not here. Where's 5 in row 5? Well, it's none of these. It has to be here. And then I am left with a 2, 3, 4 and an 8, 9 in some location. Okay. Shall we move on? So what do we need? We have essentially another 6, 7, 8, 9 and another 3, 4. I say 3, 4 because the 1, 2 pair, remove the 2 from here. So this is 3, 4. This is a definite 2 with, and therefore this is not a 2, with an 8, 9. So I'm actually going to pencil mark this. So on this side, we have another 3, 4 and a 6, 8, 9. And I know it's not 7. We established one of these is a 7. 3, 4, 8, or 9. Actually, the 8 or 9, got an 8, 9 pair in column 2. So this is, yeah, it's not, hang on. Let me think this through. It could be 6. Right, doesn't matter. 6, 7, 8, and 9 can't be in here. So this is A3, 4. This is the remaining 6, 8, 9 option. And again, it's not a 7 because one of these is a 7. We're almost getting towards like a triple / quadruple. 3, 4 pair, 8, 9 pair. These two cells are 1 and 2. Not a 2 is a 2. So in here I have another 3, 4 plus another 6, 7, 8, 9. This is probably a good time to either, I think coloring the 8 9s, I did it prematurely in the first puzzle. And the 20 cages were actually more helpful earlier than I had expected. So 7, 8, 9, how about that? That is a 7. That is a 4. That is a 7. That is not a 7. This is a 6, 8, 9 triple. That is a 6. That is a 6. That is not a 6. So there's another 7, 8, 9, which can't be in here. So this is my other 3, 4, and it's not 1, 3. And this is my other 7, 8, 9. Essentially just to complete the box. And we already have 7, 8, and 9 in here, and 6, of course. So that's 3 or 4, except it's a 1, 3 pair pointing at it. That's 4. That's 3. 4, 3, 4, 3, 1, 3. There's a 1 now in here, plus something else, 1, 6. So these add up to 7. I need 13 in here. It's not 6, 7. It could be 5, 8, or 4, 9. The 5 is here with the 8. The 4 is up there with the 9. You end up with a definite 8 or 9 in here. We're going to remember that. 1 gives me 2 and 1 in here. That 4 gave me 3, 4. No 4s is a 4. The 2, 3 pair I remember kind of sticking out until almost like, I don't want to say the bitter end, because it's not really a bitter puzzle, but 7 in row 9, and then another 2, 3. Right, so we've done that. 3s are in here. 7 is in the, oh, hang on, not a 7, is a 7, is a 7, not 7, just Sudoku. Right, so we have another 8, 9 in here. In fact, these are just known, they are 3, 5 pairs. Now I remember the 3, 5 pairs being quite helpful, and you actually need to pencil mark a bit to find something in the column that gives you a pair. That just helps you kind of storm through the end, basically. Right, let's think about what we have left in here. 4, 5, 8, and 9. I'm just going to pencil mark the lot for a second. Now, I seem to remember 7 and 9 doesn't work because they end up to 16, and then I would have a 1, 3 pair, which is not available, so that is definitely not a 9. 7 and 4 gets me to 11. I need 2 cells that add up to 9. 2, 7 is not available, but 3, 6 is. So that sticks around. 7 and 5 gives me 12. And then I need 2 cells that add up to 8. 6 and 2. 1 and 7 doesn't work. 3 and 5 doesn't work. And then 8 is 15. And then essentially this 2, 3 pair would require another 2, 3 pair in here. Now I definitely remember a problem with this being a 2, 3 pair. That was very hard to see. I was delighted that I saw it when I was solving it first time round. Of course, the 1 in here gave me a 6 and then another 1. In here is another 8, 9, a 6, and a 4. So this is 6, 8, 9. I can't seem to, actually this is not 6. This is 4, 8, 9, excuse me. That was the only cell that you could remove one of the options in. I think I'm going to need a few more pencil marks to get through this. So I need a 2 in here, plus a 4, 8, 9, not helpful. A 3 with a 5, 8, 9, not helpful. And then down here, actually we end up with 4, 5, 8, 9 quadruple. That's much easier to see. So this cell is just known. It is a 3. Is it? No 3, no 3, no 3 because it can't add up to 20, no 3. So yes, 2. But I definitely remember this being a 2, 3 pair and an 8. So I don't know what just happened. Let's go with it for a second. 6, 13, 15, 5, 3, 5, not 3. 3. Definitely 5 now, Sudoku, meaning definitely 8. And then it unwinds the 9 and 8s. Okay. I'm going to watch the video again later and just double check till I end up with a different solution. But it definitely gave me a correct answer. I had this right. So this is not a 4-8-9. It's not 4, it's an 8-9. That's an 8-9 pair. That's 4-9-4. The second 8-9 is not there. It's here. This is 6. This is known 2. And then I have 4 and a 9. And we can just unwind the 8-9s. Much smoother solve this time, I guess, second time round. Is it just my memory that says that this was an 8? Anyway, that's the solution. Let me just double check in the video. Yeah, you can see the full grid. Right, hope you don't mind the second post. I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.